It's March, very end of March 2021. And just over a year ago, everything, our lives turned upside down. And so if you can sort of give lay out the foundation for what's happening now, or what has happened in the last year with regards to college athletics. There are a number of things that have changed, programs that have been cut, certainly money has been lost at institutions. So lots of different things have changed. And my understanding is when NCAA allowed seniors, current seniors, to come back next year and still use another year of their athletic, I'm not sure the term for it, eligibility, that sort of put a little crink in maybe some high school students' plans. Am I correct, or can you help unpack what has happened and where we are now?
Yeah, so I think that COVID really put a issue on, recruiting and really sports in general. So first of all, with COVID, they weren't able to, have athletic competitions for about a year. And then also in addition, they, there wasn't athletic recruiting going on. There were not coaches coming to competitions. There were, really, it all came to a standstill this past year. So therefore, we have to really think about, well, how were kids recruited? How did we pivot, adjust, and adapt during this time to continue getting these athletes out there and recruited? And so, our natural response, just like in business, was to use the internet and use social media. So what a lot of these kids ended up doing is, first of all, signing up for all the athletic recruiting questionnaires, which can be found on each university's website under the athletics tab. And there's a student questionnaire that these students filled out. Now, after they did that, then they would email the coach directly and say, hey, I'm a junior. Obviously, I'm not playing football at this moment, but, this is kind of my stats, and would attach a photo and an athletic resume so that the coach would have a direct email from the student. Other things that they were able to do, because there wasn't a lot of recruiting going on, was setting up Twitter accounts. So by setting up a Twitter account, they were able to link up with those coaches on Twitter to quickly send quick messages back and forth, hey, I'm playing this game at this time if you're in town, or, have quick messages going back and forth with the coaches. So that was another thing, being able to set up Twitter accounts and connect with coaches that way, which was very successful. Then the next step is we got a lot of film and links to the film. So when they would send the emails to the coach, they would have links to film. So yeah, obviously you're not competing, right? But you had competed before, and your parents certainly had some film, right? Or they went and played with their club team and competed with their club team, whatever we could do to get film and links to that film, so the coach could actually see the athlete competing in their sport in person, although there were no games, okay? And then obviously the transcripts and the test results were emailed to the coaches. The students requested those from their high school counselors, and then those were emailed to the coaches. And those are kind of what the students were able to do. The other thing is that all athletes to be recruited have to be cleared by the NCAA clearinghouse. So I don't care what division you're playing, it's very important, even as a sophomore, to get that done. Your counselor has to fill out some information. The student and the family have to fill out some information. Once you're cleared for recruiting or playing per the NCAA clearinghouse, then coaches can reach out and recruit you. And you want to have that NCAA ID number handy when you're emailing the coaches or when you're Twittering the coaches, because they might say, hey, do you have your NCAA ID? So they can check if you're eligible to be recruited. So that's all included, in those emails. I think that's a critical component of that. And then obviously, like, going and visiting the schools once they open up and meeting with the coaches and setting up those meetings is also important. So that's kind of how we pivoted, adjusted, and adapted in this COVID year, because it's been really different. Normally coaches are out there at the games, you're recruiting athletes, or at the swim meets right along the lines, and there hasn't been any of that. So these athletes have had to adjust, and I have to tell you, we've had really good success.
That's amazing. So basically using Twitter and films in lieu of in-person watching game, having a recruiter come and physically watch the games. I mean, maybe in some ways this has opened up the doors for more students, because obviously recruiters couldn't get to every student's game. So that's a great tip. Now I want to audience, if you didn't catch what she said, Eva talked about NCAA clearinghouse. And when I worked at a school at Marymount, there were always students. We had a great volleyball team, so that was always, I felt like that was step one. I didn't know a lot about athletic recruiting, but I knew the basics, and then they often did the rest on their own, or with our coach. So NCAA clearinghouse, that's the website. And is that step one? Like, you have to go on and get an ID, you said, and be eligible to even talk to coaches. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
You have to be cleared. So I think that is going to be the most important. And as soon as you fill out that questionnaire, the coaches are going to ask for the transcript and the test score. So really it's like a boom, boom, boom. Step 1, 2, and 3 are kind of all at once, but I always tell my kids to first register at NCAA clearinghouse. There's also like other recruitment websites they can get a profile on for free. Those are berecruited.com and NCSA. So those are 2 other websites that students can post an athletic resume, some film, all that stuff in order to be recruited by coaches. So those are, some other options after NCAA clearinghouse is completed.
And is there a minimum age or grade level that you have to be to go onto NCAA clearinghouse?
No, I mean, you can start freshman year, but I just advise my kids to start sophomore year, because the coaches aren't going to be looking at you freshman year. They got 3 other classes ahead of you. So really it's a waste of time. And plus they're going to be looking at your GPA constantly. So I think like as a sophomore, that would be a good place to start.
Okay. All right, good. All right. I wasn't sure if they had to wait till junior year or something like that. Okay. Excellent. Oh my gosh. So practical information. Now, any other advice that you gave to your private clients or students that about, I don't know if I'm trying to think of a sport that really, how does one get better? And I love your background, and now our audience has heard, your background as a swimmer and as an elite athlete at Yale. But it takes a complete mindset to decide, I'm going to go in my backyard in this little square piece of grass I have and still become a better swimmer or football player or basketball player or whatever. So can you just give some thoughts, your own, advice on the mindset that it takes to just keep going, even in the midst of this?
Yeah, so I listen to podcasts also, and there's one it's called Strong Mind. Highly recommended for my athletes. It's all about having the right mindset, not only for your sport, but for life. And it's really easy during this COVID year, honestly, to get really lazy and sit around in our pajamas, and we're all on Zoom and it's online school and I don't feel like training today, and it's kind of like, I think that's very short-sighted of so many people, period, and especially my athletes. I'm like, you got to figure it out. Like, where can you go practice soccer? Where can you go practice your skills? You can still socially distance maybe with your friend that also has been, very, very good about that during COVID, or like a coach that's socially distanced wearing a mask. Go get the extra training or the extra help. Like, go to the, you can't go to the gyms weren't open forever. So how about online, classes? They have them podcasts, online classes. They have like YouTube videos. There's like 5 million exercise videos from YouTube. You could go to Big 5, get your own equipment. If you're an athlete, you know what to do to train. So it's been really hard this year because you have to have a strong mind to be able to do that. And it's a lot of self-motivation and being proactive. And if you're proactive and doing all these things with the coaches, that coach is going to be like, wow, that kid's on it. Look how proactive he is. He really wants to come here. He's reaching out to me like every few weeks with new film or whatever. Coaches love that because so many athletes don't do it. They think the coaches are going to come to them. Good luck with that, right? They want to know that you want to go to that university and you want to play for them on whatever sport it is. So the more proactive you are, the better off you're going to be. I mean, you don't want to be annoying and emailing the guy like every week, but once a month with an update. Hey, coach, wanted to let you know, we had this swim meet. It was just a dual meet, but this is the times I posted. And just being proactive in that and really digging deep and finding that self-motivation. It is super hard during COVID to self-motivate, but if you can achieve that, then honestly, you can achieve anything in life. I start every single day of my workday with a workout. Like, it's not an exception. Like, this is how we're going to have the day. And then the rest of my day is amazing because I know I've already gotten that done. And I've already completed that. So as an athlete, you need to kind of have that same mindset. This is just a critical part of my day and nothing is getting in the way of it. And I'm going to continue doing it, even though it's not, you got to get creative. Getting creative, I think, also was a big key this year.
I think also what you're speaking to is about habits, just really good habits. And I can hear every time I talk to you, no matter if, whether we're talking just, gal pal talk or industry talk, you have good habits. And I think those good habits were just emblazoned in your mind from being an athlete, even in high school, and having the discipline every single day of your life. So I'm assuming that I'm going to have to try that strong mind podcast, but I'm assuming that's sort of the same thing. And even now, so having the habit of your day starts with a workout and followed by, I'm sure, regimented routine for the rest of the day. It is hard enough to stay motivated as a teenager in general. It's hard to stay motivated even when you're part of a team and you've got to, get in that. I don't know how you would get in that cold water every day, girl. Oh my gosh.
At 5 a.m. it was freezing.
0:00 in the morning, it's dark. Yeah, like that's crazy. But so right now, I think those who have emerged to the top, risen to the top, are those who had the discipline and had the complete mindset to stay the course and show coaches that they had the wherewithal to keep going. So